Hello and welcome to this Tomorrow's Town series Q&A session. My name is Jana Toomey. I'm with Michigan Tech Center for Educational Outreach. Tomorrow's Town series is all about showcasing in-demand careers through the use of job shadowing videos, Q&A sessions such as this one, and other curriculum resources. Today, we are joined by Dr. Tracy Nyberg, who is a veterinarian for Stuga North over in Marquette, Michigan. Hi, Tracy. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk with you today. For those of you who haven't had the opportunity yet, make sure you stop on over to the Tomorrow's Talent Series website. Check out her video that she did. It's fantastic. I can say there are multiple puppies involved, so it's definitely worthwhile to watch. If you have any questions for Dr. Tracy today, make sure you utilize that Q&A feature. So with that, let's jump into some questions. So what aspects of this field made you want to pursue a career as a veterinarian?
It's a good question. I can say I've always loved animals, which most veterinarians and veterinary technicians do, but I did. I've always loved animals, whether it's dogs, cats, cows, wild animals, chickens. But I really started to think seriously about becoming a veterinarian as I went into middle school and high school, spending time at a vet clinic and seeing what it actually meant to be a veterinarian. And everything from diagnosing sick animals to preventative medicine with puppies up to end of life care with older dogs and cats, but also I get to do so much. I get to be a dentist, I get to be a surgeon, I get to be an ultrasonographer, I get to be a radiologist. But then a big passion too is the education aspect and teaching owners what I've found or how to take care of their pets properly, and forming a special relationship with the owners and their pets and becoming almost a part of their family. That has really become a big part of why I love my job, and realizing that and seeing that in veterinarians that I shadowed growing up really fueled my passion for wanting to enter this field.
That's great. So what kind of education or training is required to become a veterinarian?
To become a veterinarian, you do, of course, need a high school degree, and then going on to a program with a 4-year, potentially a 4-year degree, but somewhere that you can, there's a bunch of undergraduate requirements. Usually you fulfill a 4-year bachelor's degree to get all your requirements to apply to veterinary school. So I went to Michigan State for 4 years, and I was an animal science major, but classmates of mine mostly were science majors, but some people were even a fine arts degree, and then they took all the required science or math classes to apply to vet school. And then once I was in veterinary school, it was another 4 years.
So there seems to be a very limited number of veterinarian programs in the US. Do you know why that may be?
It's, it is pretty competitive to get into veterinary school, being the limited number that there is. And, I think making sure that you have the dedicated individual who has gone through, some mentoring and shadowing programs, but also has the grades, because it's a pretty intense program with 20 to 30 credit hours per semester. So there's not, right now, there actually are more jobs than what students coming out of the vet schools can supply. So there are a couple more schools that are in the process of becoming accredited, because that's a big process, becoming an accredited veterinary school, having the professors needed there and the facilities there. So it is slowly expanding, but it is kind of a conundrum, because there are a lot of people wanting to be vets, and I think more people could potentially be really great veterinarians than what the limited number of schools can allow right now.
So do you need to renew your license after a certain amount of time, and what does that process entail?
Yep. So when I graduated from veterinary school, you have to take boards, and that makes you officially a doctor of veterinary medicine. In the US, you'll never have to take those boards again. But you do need to renew your state license every 3 years. And then also my drug controlled license through the FDA, I have to renew that also. And then it's interesting, if you are a veterinarian in the state of California, I think that's the only state, they have their own boards. So you would have to take another set of boards for the state of California. And otherwise, you can apply for, some states participate in joint licensure, or if I wanted to be licensed in Wisconsin, I'd have to apply for that and pay the fees. And I think most of them are every 3 years to renew.
So what would a really good day look like for you in this job?
Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate where I love coming to work every day, and every day there's ups and downs, but in general, every day is a pretty good day. I just opened my own practice in October, so probably, I had a whole litter of puppies that I saw. There was 8 of them, 7 or 8 in the litter, so they've all been cycling in for their puppy shots pretty regularly. And there was one day, I think all but one of them came in, so that was almost your stereotypical puppy day, which was really fun. And I've never had that before in 10 years. But also a really good day. Like I said, I love the variety. So if I could have a couple surgeries that were really exciting, and something different, like I had a bladder surgery that I took. Oh, there were hundreds of stones in this dog's bladder. They had been building there for years. And that was really exciting to help that dog, but also seeing some new clients and new families and getting to know them, and knowing they trust me with their pets, and get to do some education, just a splattering of variety of cases to work up, and being a detective, and some easier just vaccines and educating, and then surgeries. So that would be a really good day too.
That does sound like a really good day.
Yeah.
So are there other species of animals that you care for outside of cats and dogs?
I could do horses, I could do cows, I could do wildlife if I wanted to, but I have, just being a small animal clinic set up here in town, I saw a peacock last week, like somebody who brings their dogs to me, their peacock had a hurt leg, and I said, sure, just come on in, I'll take an x-ray. I always give the disclaimer, I'm not an avian vet, or bird vet, but I can look things up. I can see if something's broken. I can reach out to other vets who may have more expertise in, that different realm of medicine. But that was really fun doing the peacock. I had a bunny that came in yesterday that got beat up by another rabbit in the house, and I ended up doing surgery to repair a big bite wound on that bunny. And I mean, most vets, they're willing to kind of think outside the box, and even if it's a species that I'm not super familiar with, I've seen occasional deer here and there. I've seen lots of birds like pigeons and seagulls and ducks, and I have chickens of my own. So, we tend to be people that just want to help, and we have a hard time saying no, which can be our worst enemies sometimes. But it's fun to see things outside of the realm of normal, like guinea pigs too, and gerbils and rabbits and rats too.
So do you have any favorite patients that you get excited when they're coming in?
I have a lot of favorite patients, practicing over 10 years. It's usually like the patients, but also the owners, and it's like a little family reunion when they come in. So, and it's fun too to see clients, as they've lost older dogs or cats, and then they get a puppy again, and kind of form that new relationship with them. And it's a whole new ball game, and like a breath of fresh air. And that's really neat too, just to see the joy that a new pet can bring to a family.
So are many of the pets that you care for nervous when they come in for an appointment, and how do you help them relax?
There's a wide variety. You have your crazy Labradors that come in and wagging their tail and jumping all over you, and You know, they need to relax a little bit, but they're not nervous. But then you have dogs or cats that come in that are very nervous to get on the scale or come out of their carrier. And right now I'm only letting one animal in and an owner at a time, so it's not real loud in here. Um, Trying to read body language of animals with how they're carrying, which I talked about in one of the videos, carrying their tail or their ears, or growling or hissing. That's definitely a way that they communicate. But sometimes too, just being in a new place, sometimes we can use some drugs to help us also if needed, just to help them to relax so that we can do what we need to do when they're not super scared. Um, you know, that's a good way of keeping it as fear-free as possible. I'll come outside and look at an animal if they're scared to come inside, or just trying, figuring out some animals are better without their owners there. And we'll take them out of the room to draw blood, and that goes better. So just trying to communicate with the owners, communicate with the animals, and just also you just not getting worked up, because the animals can figure out when you're scared or you're worked up about something. That's really important too.
So in the video, we got to see some of your responsibilities. We also got to see some of the veterinarian technicians at the practice. So can you explain a little bit about the difference in responsibilities between yourself and a vet tech?
Yeah, so I could not be a vet without a vet tech. They are very important with helping, whether it's drawing blood from an animal. I know how to run the lab work too, but they run all the lab work. They maintain all of the equipment, testing it, making sure it's working like it should be. They do a lot more hands-on stuff with the animals during surgery, or like I said, if I need help holding an animal, that's them taking x-rays. So they do, like the name says, a lot more of the technical hands-on stuff versus, my job is looking at that blood work that's ran and the abnormalities, along with taking a good history of what people are seeing with their animals and kind of piecing together what I think is going on. Is there medicine that I can prescribe to help them, or do I need to do a surgery to fix it? But often, like if it is a surgery, a technician is scrubbing in with me and helping to hold things or assist. So their schooling, you can be a technician without going to school to be like a licensed technician, where they do take a test and they you pay for a licensure. That usually involves some schooling, but like there's a young woman going through a tech program right now. She's going to come spend some time here and get some qualifications for the hands-on things that are needed.
Are there other positions at the clinic as well?
Yeah, so we have a front desk receptionist, Kareen. She and that's a hard job, answering the phone, because sometimes it's ringing like crazy, but then figuring out, asking the appropriate questions when somebody has a sick animal to figure out how soon do they need to get in, or figuring out how a day is going to flow and not booking it too heavily or too lightly, and always being pleasant on the phone, because sometimes owners, if they're scared or they don't know what's going on with their dog, customer service can be hard sometimes to talk to people. So they're kind of the first people that they talk to on the phone, or when you walk in that you see. But then also one of my technicians, one day a week, she works up front. So she kind of wears both hats of reception and technician. And then another technician, she kind of serves the role as office manager, making sure everything's always stocked that we need and keeping track of invoices and orders. Sherry works really hard and does a great job of, we really always have everything that we need. And I never realized before I started this clinic how many things, you need on hand. And then when you don't have it or you didn't think of it, you can be in a tight jam potentially.
So in the video, you mentioned that you got the call at about 2 a.m. when a mama dog started having her puppies.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of middle of the night calls?
Not a ton. I mean, it's emergencies. It's a weird thing. You know, it can be very busy where it's hard when you get home and you get an emergency call and you have to go right back in, or you get woken up in the middle of the night. In general, I mean, knock on wood, there's not a lot that you have to go in the middle of the night. You get phone calls a lot of times that you can talk through things, and it could wait till the next morning, or giving the owner advice of what to try at home that night, or on the weekends too. But sometimes you do have to go in, but kind of gauging what the owner is seeing. Phones are really nice. People send a lot of videos sometimes of what they're seeing, so I can see it and say, yeah, that doesn't look very good. We should meet at the clinic. But it's a day by day, week by week basis.
So in the video, you're walking us through some of the surgery prep. What kind of monitors was that dog hooked up to in the video?
Yeah, so it's a multi-parameter monitor. So it looks at several things. We'll have a little tongue clip. It can go on the tongue or it can go on the ear. That tells us how saturated the red blood cells are with oxygen, much like they have one that you'll put on your finger to test on you. There's a little probe that we put down the throat some for monitoring the temperature. There are little clips that we put in certain spots on them that monitors the heart rate, and then it also gives us the rhythm that's there. So if they start getting an arrhythmia, you'll see it on there and know right away. And then it also will monitor their respiration rates too.
And can we know if that dog
And
is
blood
doing
pressure
all
too. Sorry.
right?
Yeah, that I think was a spay or a neuter. And everybody that I've done surgery on in the last 6 months, has done really well. And I think we have a really good system down for putting an animal under anesthesia, doing the surgery and recovering and monitoring them. So if something is going wrong, we can quickly make changes. So everybody has done really well.
Good. That's always good to hear.
Yeah.
So what is kind of the process that you go through if you're struggling to determine why an animal isn't feeling well?
Yeah, it's an art that's taken, and I still am learning things daily about, it starts off with, usually start with talking to the owner. I sit on the floor a lot, and usually talking to the owner about what they have been seeing, and with the dog or the cat over whatever time period it is. And usually while I'm talking, I'm touching the animal and looking at the animal with how they're moving, or if they're reactive when I get to certain spots. And then based on the history that the owner has given me, I'll do my physical exam where, I'm touching and looking and listening everywhere. And then, you kind of, as time has gone on, you see a lot of the same conditions. Sometimes I've still seen stuff that I've never seen before, but then I have a good direction of where to go based on what they've told me and what the animal kind of tells me, and then what I've seen in the past of whether I want to do blood work or x-rays or ultrasound. And all of those are diagnostic tools that help me, point me in one direction or the other. And then also I can send off certain things, like if there's a lump on an animal or I need to do more advanced blood work, there are certain labs that we send things to give us a little bit of a better idea of if the animal needs surgery, or what, like I said, what type of medicine would be good to use.
So how has the profession changed since you first started?
It's changed. I mean, the pandemic has changed it a lot, where a lot of vets are still doing curbside service, where owners are not coming in with their animals. So that makes it hard when you don't get face-to-face contact with people potentially. But also, that's not going to be forever. But technology is continuing to evolve, where there's more tools available for like ultrasound, or digital x-ray, getting really, really crisp, nice images that used to only be available in big referral hospitals, or different medicines that have come out that have helped us treat different heart conditions, or different, just, it's an evolving, keeping up with the research that's been done, and different procedures or ways to treat things, or even different new conditions that are being developed or learned about.
And where do you see the future of this field going?
It's going to continue to expand. We're going to continue, being a small animal clinic in a smaller town. We have a lot of tools here. There's still a lot of tools. There are referral hospitals that they have that we don't have. So I think we're going to continue to have relationships with bigger hospitals down at universities where the vet schools are, or like in Appleton, that's the closest one for sending a case that's a little bit more advanced than what we can handle. Because like, if I wanted to be a specialist, like say I only wanted to do eye surgeries or look at animal eyes, there is a specialty that you can go in and be an ophthalmologist as a veterinarian. It takes 4 more years of a residency and another set of tests. So maybe in the future, doing a residency and doing a specialty like that, and being able to live in Marquette or being able to live in Houghton would be a possibility. Or that would be pretty neat to have more specialists in more rural areas, but we'll just see how it goes.
Do you have any advice for students who might be interested in getting into this field?
I would say, if you have animals, talk to your veterinarian that you go to, see if you're able to spend any time there. That will give you a better idea if this truly is a field that you're interested in. Even volunteering at an animal shelter, you see a lot of medicine there. You get more hands-on time with animals, but also, continue working hard at school, getting the best grades that you can, but also vet schools like to see that you're well-rounded, that if you like to play sports or do clubs outside of school, make yourself as well-rounded of a person as you can in general.
All right. So is there anything else that you would like students to know about this field that we haven't touched on yet today?
Not that I can really think of. Just, do some research, see if you think it's a potential field that you're interested in. And there's so many different avenues. I'm just one avenue as a small animal veterinarian that you can go down. It is a very wide variety field, whether you're a veterinarian or a vet tech, or a vet assistant, or if you love animals and you think something in this field interests you, and you have a passion for science, and there's many avenues, so just explore.
That's great. All right, well, thank you so much for spending some time and talking with us today. I'd also like to thank our other Tomorrow Talent Series partners, the MySTEM Network, Upper Peninsula Michigan Works, Bay College, Gogebic Community College, and our CTE directors. If this video interests you and you want to learn about more careers, make sure you stop by our Tomorrow's Talent Series. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah.